It's the ride along, say what? We rolling rough, keep up, what's up? It's the ride along, say what?
Rap, this is info on the ride along. We're here at the Complex Studios in Chicago, downtown Chicago. We're sitting here with a legend of the studio, Big Rap. What's up?
Man, it's an honor to be here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really give a lot of interviews, so like, y'all might be the third interview I gave in like 20-something years.
Wow, I appreciate you sitting down with us and chopping it out with us. We're going to be meeting new artists today, so hopefully you're here to hang out and see what Chicago has to offer, what's new. What have you, so give us a little history, because not everybody knows who Big Rap is.
Well, I'm the CEO of Seawall Creators. We're associated labels, the label that brought you Twister, Do or Die, Snipers, Produce Psychodrama, D.A. Smart, and a whole plethora. At one time, we was probably producing and recording and putting out over 75% of the talent that was coming out of Chicago in the mid-90s into the 2000s. So we had our hands on everything. You know, I'm also one of the founding members of the State, which was the original crew from which all the members of Seawall came from.
Okay. You know, a lot of people, when they hear Chicago, they associate Chicago with like Kanye West and Chance the Rapper, you know, Twista, you know, like that. Who are some other rappers that you've worked with?
I mean, a lot of them, you know, I come from the West Side, so I'm out California.
Okay.
So the majority of the rappers that you were all hearing about back in the day, your Do or Dies, the Psychodramas, Snipers, Triple Darkness, even the Crucial Conflict guys. Now, those guys who we all work with, we had relationships with, and we all, you know, we all were in the business of making some power moves, because at the time Chicago wasn't getting recognized. You know, the only person that was recognized out of Chicago at the time back then was Common.
Right.
You know, so when he kind of like when his career started taking a little hiatus, you know what I'm saying? We jumped in the scene independently because nobody was giving us no opportunity. Some of my guys is locked up, they on their way home now, but they were kind enough to get behind us. Mm-hmm. You know, just like, you know, I know that's how it went out there on the East Coast too. A lot of people believing in the talent and saying, listen, we gonna mess with y'all because we believe in y'all, and that's what they did with us.
Right.
You know, I can remember one of the guys, I'm coming home from the military, I'm playing demo tapes, they asking me what I need, they getting them brick cell phones back in '89. Bring me 10 stacks up on California. I'm like, no, I don't need 10. Well, what you need? I say, just give me a stack, and I'm gonna put up a stack.
Right.
And I started recording from there. Now I started making magic from that. You know, it was like this street element was already there.
Right.
But I was rooted in hip hop because I was a pioneer. So, you know, I remember one of my homies coming to me and he asked me, like, man, Rap, he said, you live this life, man, why you don't talk about it? I said, man, I don't want to glorify it. And he said, it ain't glorifying it if you're telling the truth. And it changed everything.
Right.
You know, and that's when I used to be called Rap a Lot. I had the name before it was Rap a Lot Records. It was an acronym, though it was spelled different.
Right.
It was Rhythm and Poetry Producing Language and Thought. So I think about 97, right after we signed our deal with Atlantic, because we got a joint venture that's still going right now. And I think my father had just passed away, so, you know, I felt it kind of like an honor. They used to call my father's name was Junior, but they called him Big Jew. So I said, okay, man, since he was the Big Jew, I'm the Big Rap. So that's how I became Big Rap. You know, and it was, I learned the business from the ground up, though.
Yeah.
Everything. Like, the average person is just coming out here talking about they got a label, they just got a chain on saying they got a label, man. Come on, tell me about all your departments in your label, man. Yeah. Tell me how they run. What's your standard operating procedures? What your field marketing person do? What your street team person do? What your urban person do?
They're probably like, what?
Yeah, what your product management person do?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? What your A&R do? They don't know nothing about none of that. So, you know, I learned that for real, and then I not only did that. But as the CEO of the record label, I was the HNIC.
Right.
So I was going across the country, meeting all my street team people. I'm the person with the checkbook, writing the checks for them too.
Right.
So I'm like, I don't know, I want to see what y'all doing. You know, and when I come back into your market, if y'all haven't done that, you're not getting another check. You fired. You know, and I had to do that to a few people, you know, and like even with some of the projects we did, like I can remember us going out because one of the first projects we did, we had a maxi single called Jack the Black Star. It didn't do real good, but it was a decent song. Then we came and linked up with Traxter and we was gonna do the distribution and stuff for Doomsday. So we was going to a bunch of record stores, asking could we put product in the stores, giving them handwritten receipts, and I just didn't like that. I don't like this. This is not how I envision this. So one day I was just sitting in the house and I was watching a commercial. I'm a tech guru too. I got 2 degrees in information technology. So I'm sitting up there watching a commercial about QuickBooks Pro when it first hit the scene.
Right. So
I immediately grabbed it, ordered it, and started configuring. And when I started configuring, I set up the whole record label in there. I'm talking about I had the entire database. I had a database for every distributor, every store in the whole United States put in that system. I even set up payroll, did everything in there. All my vendors for manufacturing. I was doing business with Sony for manufacturing out of Carrollton, Georgia, and out of Indiana. So I had stepped up the game, and I not only was doing that, I was also driving a forklift for Best Foods that make Helmets mayonnaise. So that's how I started learning the game.
Yeah.
One of my supervisors was telling me, I'm asking him where all this mayonnaise going. He said, well, they going to DC's. I said, what's DC's? He's got a distribution center. So I got to thinking, I'm like, shit, I bet these one-stop distributors we rotate with is DC's then. So let me set this company up so we can rotate like that.
Right.
And I started doing that. So we started figuring out the process about making one sheets for new release announcements and all that stuff, sending them out. Talking about I had to work putting the barcodes with the SRPs on them and everything, sending them to everybody. Next thing I knew, I was getting pre-orders for everything before they was coming back from the manufacturers because we was sending out the samplers and stuff for the albums and stuff, you know. I went from, we did a test and we went to the 1 Million Man March and made 15 stacks at the Million Man March. Then we came back here and then we put out D to the S Doomsday, not Doomsday, but My Brother's Keeper, and Do or Die Po Pimp. And from both of those projects, I thought the D to the S was gonna take off, but the street said, no, we want this Po Pimp. Do you want to ride in the backseat of a cat? And before I knew it, I was distributing up out of our office. I was distributing 5,000 units a week up out the office. Yeah. And we had a system set up. We had a FedEx computer, so we was rotating with FedEx, we was rotating with UPS, and with the post office. So we had already figured out that for Tuesday releases, they was all shipping out on Thursdays and stuff. So we'll do it Wednesday and Thursday shipment so they have product before the actual release date.
Right.
And it just started turning over into something real big. And what happened was when we started doing numbers like that, we looked up and we didn't even know. We just an independent label. We on the Billboard charts. We on there what they call on the Billboard, they call something with a bullet. And I was like, wow, I said, we own that.
So do you notice like a difference between like the generation that you worked with compared to now? Because I know you're still active in music and still out here in the community and with the generation that's coming up now. What's the difference between? It seems like the generation that was in the '90s, people were coming up then, seem to have a little more harder work ethic. Then the generation now seems to want like instant fame.
They want instant gratification, but it's two-sided though, because I ran into the negative attributes those artists at that time. They had this sense of entitlement, like somebody owed them something, because a lot of my people from the streets was putting money behind them, so they wasn't putting me in all the work. So I ran into that. With today's artists, though, it's still some like that, but I see a lot more younger artists that's multi-talented. They producing, they writing, they singing, they doing a lot of stuff. Some of them are directing videos and everything. So we got this. It's a little bit more complicated now. And I think some of the artists want instant gratification because of the digital age, and they don't want to gravitate to the stuff that we did in the streets to make it successful.
Right.
So on that part, yeah, you're 100% correct. But on the flip side of that, they bringing more talent and more other concepts to the table. That's making it like I'm looking at artists and looking at what they doing, and I see it, and I see it sprouting up out of them. So even concepts, when I see them doing videos, I'm like, man, that was a dope concept.
Right.
How'd you come up with that? They said they thought it out. They planned it, and then they gave it to the director. And then they let the director add in his 2 cents. But they really came up with the concept, because they said if they had to leave it to him, he may not see the whole entire
vision. Right, exactly.
Yeah, and it was just one of those things, But it's a lot that this generation don't have that we had, because we came up in a culture where we was doing everything. Like, we was real hip hop. We was the real 5 elements: graffiti, DJing, breakdancing, you know what I'm saying, rapping, all of that. We was all of that, so there was nowhere where we was split off from that. And then I came up in a gang culture, that was real dangerous back in the early 80s going into the 90s.
Yeah.
But hip hop kind of like allowed us to move around.
Sure.
But now it's a morph now where the industry done manipulated the system and got these guys out here getting deals and then killing each other after they get the deals.
Or going to jail.
I'm like, what part of that? I don't want to even.
What part of the game is that?
Yeah, I'm like, man, I gang bang and I got a bullet in me right now that ain't never been taken out. So I know what this is in the streets. I got into this music to get the hell away from that.
Right.
Since when y'all
gangbanging is still in the music.
Yeah,
still
y'all
in the
jumping
industry.
in the game and getting deals, and y'all robbing and stealing and shooting.
Yeah.
When y'all got a bag, what y'all doing that for?
That's what I don't understand. Like you're saying, even like Jay-Z or who else? I mean, tons of people that been in the game and then got out, did music, and left it alone. Like you're saying, they're still trying to do music, still gangbang, still sell drugs, and it's not gonna work.
Well, you got a lot of people that's doing it because of the actual art imitating life, instead of life imitating art.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you got some people out here that they getting on, they know they ain't no street guys and none of that, so then they want to prove to somebody that they street.
Because they put it in a song.
Yeah. They like, oh yes, I said this, so now I gotta live it.
Right.
No, this ain't none of that. Like real talk, I come from, like I said, a real gang culture.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so my homies still serving life sentences and stuff like that. And some of them finna come home because they done gave them life sentences back.
Right.
But now, I see, even some of the people that they helped a lot of artists. Some of them artists turned their backs on them.
Yeah.
They didn't even send them no money on their commissary, did nothing for them.
Right.
They know about me though. I mean, like, I don't like to brag about this, but if I was to get locked up tomorrow, I'm straight. I can move around in any joint and they gonna know who I was.
Right.
Cause they know who I was supporting that's been in that system for over 20 and 30 years. And like, the industry's so crazy now, like, it's a paradigm shift occurring right now.
Right.
And it's occurring for the better for us as indie labels and stuff, because with the advent of the digital age, that gave us a leg up and allowed us to get in, because now we got access to everything. I can put out a song, it's going to be on Tidal, Spotify, and everything.
Right.
But you can't just do that and then think you own. Because I've seen people say, we got artists that's got 1 million views on YouTube and go do a concert, and it's only 200 people at the concert.
Yeah. You can be hot on the internet, but not necessarily
Yeah.
can pack a house or book a arena to really put on a show.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between being internet famous and actually having a concert and entertaining a few thousand people.
For instance, if you ask the average artist right now, what's the coldest stage show y'all ever seen? They gonna quote one of these little young artists right now and say they the coldest. I'm be like, no, they ain't. Y'all ain't never seen a show where Houdini performed. Houdini set the stage and set the bar for that. The way that their music was engineered and everything was like, you couldn't even take the Chronic and put it up against Houdini's albums. You gonna see that the Chronic was trying to emulate that quality of mixing and stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was like that. A lot of people don't understand that. They don't know nothing about that. I play one of them songs. That's Ice Cube. No, that's Houdini. That's where Ice Cube got that from. He took I'm a hoe from Houdini though.
That's true. I mean,
On everything.
I actually like that Ice Cube song, but I remember the Houdini song.
Yeah, but the quality of the music is different now. Yeah, you got some dumbed down artists. You still got some talented artists, even young artists coming up in the game. Shout out to my man Hard Knock, because he one of the young ones coming up in Chicago. That's I'm talking about from the streets and lyrically, the man is gifted. You know, it's just like with Bump J talented. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of talented artists I'm starting to see come in, young and old, that's doing it. And the thing is, if they can transfer that business acumen that we had back then and transfer it to what we got now, then they'll blow up. They'll blow up, because a lot of people complain and talking about we want to get a deal, but the deals y'all want, they not gonna be conducive or complimentary to what you might have had, because first of all, you gotta do some numbers on the internet in order for them to technically
Or even look at you. You
Yeah.
gotta have its amount of likes and followers that you get and
Right,
stuff.
right. But here's the catch-22 to that though. Even after you do that, what's to say that they gonna put out your record though?
Yeah.
You know, that's just for them to sign you and give you some type of advance, but even at the end of the day, when you really look at it, the nuts and bolts of it, if I do some numbers for a major to pick me up, because one of my business partners with Seawall, one of them is the senior VP for Universal. So I could go to him tomorrow and say, man, I need a situation. He gonna be like, okay, this is what I'm gonna need you to do, and he gonna walk me through and be like, yeah, do X, Y, and Z. But when I look at X, Y, and Z, and I do the math,
Right.
be like, well, man, if I do X, Y, and Z, which I'm gonna do anyway, and then I start doing numbers, eventually what's gonna happen, I'm gonna start getting paid dates. I can fuel my marketing and promotion budgets on my own.
Yeah, I was going to say.
You can get enough money to put 100 stacks up in a marketing and promotion budget, and then start trying to take off from there. You know, will it work? Not all the time, because I see some artists that they done pump money into a marketing promotion budget and it didn't pan out. But see, that got everything to do with you being able to A&R project properly also. You can't go and put 100 into a project and then you then pick out the proper singles, man, for the project, man.
True.
What the hell are you doing? No, put the proper singles and get a real listening party so you can really input on what they gonna mess with, and then start putting them in there, and then put them in order so you can work them properly, and then follow the damn marketing plan. Because most people want to wing everything. If you wing everything, then nobody's motivated to rotate with you, because they gonna feel like you unorganized.
Right.
They gonna be like, man, what they doing?
They don't know what they're doing.
Right. Now, some artists out here, like my man L. Hill, he making bangers. He one of the little youngest. He over there with the Atlantic, stuff with APG, but here's the thing. He done did so much work over there, that man probably gave them a catalog, like Tupac catalog.
And not get paid for it.
Man, and they ain't even talking about releasing a project.
Yeah.
You done turned over 100 or some songs, and then all of a sudden, they'll be like, man, we don't have that hit. No, I don't think y'all ain't on it. It's right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you got those kind of conundrums that exist in the game where you got this tug of war. Because first of all, the A&Rs that I see nowadays ain't real A&Rs. They not traveling to different markets and meeting people.
That's what you do. You have to travel. You have to move around to different cities, different markets. You don't move around like that. It's just that's how you do it. That's how you do it. So what do you have coming up?
Well, I got a project I'm working on right now called Street Politics.
Okay.
It's pretty much done. We just in the mixing and mastering stages. I got 2 singles out on it right now. One called Miss You Much. The other one called Comfort Zone.
Okay.
So they 2 hot joints. I'm getting ready to start doing the treatments for the videos now. And then I'm going to really start kicking in the marketing budgets for everything. So, you know, I'm doing that. Then I got another album I dropped previous to that called Long Time Coming. So I got a video on that. And called I Wonder with Slick J. Adams. Shout out to J. and his brother Isaiah Sharkey, who's a beast. This man, young guy, sound like Curtis Mayfield.
Okay. All right.
So, you know, we just got a lot of stuff going on. I'm working with a whole lot of people. And it's going to be surprising to everybody when they see us come together and they're like, damn, that gangster dude right there rotating. They sound like some neo soul. They sound like some soul. They sound like some 70s soul and stuff like that. Yeah, we rotate with everybody. Yeah. But y'all talking about music is music. You know, it don't matter who making it. Look, you make a gangster song, but you use a 70s sample for the sample. You know what I'm saying?
They don't even know it.
Yeah.
It's been resampled and sampled again, and then it's something brand new.
Man, you know, it's just like, I mean, they looking at Wale and Jeremiah talking about they done made the best thing since sliced gravy. And use Tony.
Right, that's right. I remember that. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me and giving everybody's listening some jewels on how to get it together. And I appreciate you.
Got to.
All right, everybody, this is info on the Ride Along Road Trip Chicago Complex Studio with Big Rap.
Seawall, baby.